Okay, so staying with this idea of, what we're cultivating and why, we're going to start with a little bit of self-care in honor of the first request, or rather the second request. So we're going to start by taking our feet, and you guys are just going to massage your feet in whatever way feels good for you. So sometimes it feels nice to just like crack the toes a little bit. Sometimes it feels nice to send your thumbs into the inner and the outer edge of the foot. Sometimes it feels good to create little circles with the toes and the metatarsals. And sometimes you like to just bring your thumbs to the outer edges of your heels and just massage in there. But you're just noticing in this moment how the breath is moving through your body, where you're experiencing sensation, and seeing if we can allow ourselves to come back to that notion of, we're in this moment, paying attention to what's happening right now, staying connected to our intention or goal, but not putting the cart before the horse. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. So you'll now take the opposite foot, and again, see what's happening on this side. So you might need to explore a different set of movements or feelings, and that's totally okay. It seems that sometimes when we're making New Year's intentions or goals in general, I become very rigid in how I'm supposed to do something and what way it's supposed to unfold or progress. And life presents us with all bunches of opportunities in disguise. Okay, once you're done with that, go ahead and just sit cross-legged, and you can sit on a blanket or a block, whatever is going to feel good to you. And we'll start by just taking a gentle twist. So your left hand will come in front, the right hand will come behind you, sit super tall through your spine, and just take a little rotation over to the right. Maybe your left hand comes to the outside edge of your right knee and the right hand walks back behind you, but you'll just take 2 to 3 breaths, breathing into the back of your left ribs, lifting up through your head, and noticing where you can soften a little bit so that you're not driving too much with that left hand. Nice work. And then gently come back through center. Bring your right hand in front of you, left hand behind, and you'll do the same thing. So sit tall through the spine, and then exhale, start to rotate to the left. Maybe the right hand travels outside of the left knee, and maybe the left hand travels behind the pelvis a bit more as you rotate towards the left. And you're just noticing where you can soften here and where you can deepen your breath. And then on your next inhalation, you'll gently unwind and come back through center. Go ahead and switch the cross of your legs. And last few things before we move on, we'll just take a side bend over to the right. So the left hand might plant on a block, it might be on the floor, but you're just reaching up through, your right hand will be on the floor, and you're reaching out through the left. And you're seeing if you can breathe all along the side body. And it might feel nice to you to turn your chest to the floor a little bit, or turn your chest up to the sky a little bit if your QL is pretty tight on the left side, but you're just noticing and you're breathing. And on your next inhalation, come up through center, and then we'll take that to the other side. Left hand out to the left, right hand up and overhead, and just take a moment to notice what's happening on this side. So we're coming back to our why. Why do we want to feel connected? Why do we want to feel that we love and appreciate and value the self that we are and the life that we live? And it's from there that we'll allow ourselves the fortitude to continue. So go ahead and come up. From here, make your way onto hands and knees, and I encourage you to pad your knees if your knees happen to be sensitive. And the first thing that you'll do is make sure your hands are shoulder distance apart, and your toes can be tucked under or they can remain on the floor. It totally depends upon you, but notice what's happening now in your back. You might arch the back just a little bit, or you might find a neutral spine. It's totally up to you. But you're going to dip your chin towards your chest, push your hands straight down into the floor to keep your arms super straight. And on your next in-breath, start to draw your left ear towards your left shoulder and up towards the sky, and then your right ear towards the right shoulder, and then your chin back towards your chest. You're going to take 4 of these, following your breath, making little neck circles here in this orientation. My teacher instructs neck circles in this orientation because he says that it doesn't compress the neck as much, because when you're going back, you're actually using gravity to strengthen the muscles of the neck. So you're just noticing what you notice, moving very slowly, following the pace of your breath through all the fun little cricky spots in the neck. And make sure you're still pressing down through your hands. And then the next time your chin comes to your chest, you'll pause, and then you'll reverse directions. And we're just taking 4 circles, and you're noticing how you can just connect to the breath in this moment. I often find that when I'm in my cart before the horse thing, worry is what's taking over, and I forget my why I wish to be connected, why I wish to value the person that I am. And instead, if we can just allow ourselves to be in this moment, we can remember the why, because it makes us feel good. It makes us feel like there's a sense of purpose and meaning. And your last set. Pause and sauce. The next time your chin is to your chest, you'll stay there, and then inhale, lift your head, lift your bum, little baby cow pose. And exhale, round through your spine, little baby cat. And you'll just take 4 of these, and you'll notice what this feels like now that we spent some time opening up the neck. You might have noticed that as you were doing the cats and the cows, or at least just the head circles, one shoulder felt different than the other, one part of the neck felt different than the other. Awesome sauce, you got 1 more set. And then from there, take whatever organic movement feels good to you. So you might take some barrel rolls, you might take a gentle twist, you might just press back to child's pose and take a few moments to breathe. You're allowing yourself in this moment to connect to your body, to your breath, and to your sense of being. And you've got 2 to 3 more breath cycles, so feel free to switch sides or do something else from what you've been doing. Nice work. Gently find yourself to a neutral tabletop position. Walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Tuck both sets of toes under. And then for this first one, let's just go ahead and push our pelvis back to sit on our heels. Bring the back of your hands to the floor so your palm faces up alongside your knee. And we're just going to stay here. So just using one hand at first, and you'll bend the elbow and straighten the elbow to see what that feels like on the back of the forearm. And then once you've had enough on that side, go ahead and switch sides. So the back of the hand comes to the floor, palm faces up, and you can bend and straighten the elbow like a pretty little pony, seeing how that feels. And once you've had enough of that, both hands come to the floor, and you might push yourself back and sit super tall on your hips. And then just take a few little shoulder circles here if that feels good to you. You might take eagle arms if that feels better to you. Or you might just bring your hands behind your back. But again, you're noticing what it feels like in this moment to inhabit your body and responding from there. Great. From here, go ahead and draw yourself onto hands and knees, tops of the feet to the floor, pitter patter your toes, having a happy little temper tantrum if that feels good to you. And then conversely, you might shift your weight back, lift your knees up and away from the floor, one or both knees, depending upon how your knees and ankles feel in this position. Great. From here, make your way back to hands and knees, tuck your toes under, and start to push your pelvis back until you're in a weird little squat position. Let your head drop towards the floor, so knees are up and away from the floor, and you're in a weird squat position at the back of your mat. Great. Now with your knees pushing into your chest, see if you can breathe into your back space. Let your head hang super, super, super heavy. And then you might start to walk your hands back so they're underneath your shoulders. Push down into the feet, push down into the hands, and come to a forward fold at the back of your space. Now we haven't done too much for your hamstrings, so your hamstrings are probably pretty tight. Go ahead and separate your feet about hip distance apart. And then bend one knee and then the other, slowly moving through here, noticing what feels best to you. And then checking in with your breath, seeing if you can hear the sound of the breath, letting that almost be like an internal mantra of why you're doing what you're doing, to feel good, to feel connected, to feel seen, and to feel whole. Okay, go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Maybe you grab opposite elbow, maybe you don't. We've got 3 breath cycles here. And just notice if you can tone the back of your throat and invite in your ujjayi, letting it stay consistent, letting it stay stable. Through all of the shapes that we take from here going on, your breath is what guides you in and your breath is what guides you out. It is your internal why. Okay, gently release your hands to the floor. Inhale, bend your knees. And exhale, slowly roll up the spine all the way to vertical. When you get to the top, you'll take a breath in and then roll all the way back down to that forward position. And you'll repeat this 4 times. So you're moving bone by bone. Noticing how you can start to elongate the breath as you bend through the spine and roll up the spine. And how you can elongate the breath as you start to tuck the chin to the chest and roll down the spine. And so you've got 2 more sets on your own, just following your breath up and down. So we're just trying to work open the fascia in a very gentle way. And here's your last set. Nice. Once you get to stand, go ahead and pause for a moment. Maybe readjust the shoulders so it feels like the collarbones are open. And then we're going to take 4 sets of these. So inhale, push down through your feet, reach out through your arms, come to the balls of your feet as you reach your arms up. And then exhale, open the arms out and lower the heels down. So we've just got 4 sets of these. And as you're working with these, we're noticing how we can just pay attention to what's happening moment by moment. So maybe one foot lifts easier than the other. Maybe we wobble a little bit, and that's okay. Maybe the inhalation is easier than the exhalation, and that's okay too. As best as you can, try to find samasthiti, so equal standing breath, or samavriti rather. There we go. Last time. Wobbling's okay. Finding the compassion for ourselves as we wobble. And this last one, keep your heels down, but inhale, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. And you'll pause here, push down through the feet, reach up through your arms. See if you can deepen your breath as the tailbone descends and the chest lifts. And then as you exhale, hands come through heart center. Start to hinge at your hips and bring your fingers all the way down to the floor. From there, inhale, halfway lift, spine parallel to the floor. And then exhale, fold all the way in. Listen closely. Inhale, bend your knees. And as you exhale, slowly roll all the way up the spine. When your head's on top of your shoulders, inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And exhale, hands through heart center alongside your hips. That counts as 1 set. We'll do 1 more. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at your hips, offering the heart forward and the pelvis back. From there, inhale, slide the heart forward, reach the tailbone back. And then exhale, melt your chest towards your shin bones. Inhale, bend the knees. As you exhale, curl the tailbone up to stand. When your head's on top of your hips, you'll inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And then exhale, hands through heart center and alongside your hips. Slight variation, 2 sets. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. This time as you exhale, you'll roll down the spine. So the hands will come through heart center. The head will follow like it's on a string, bringing you all the way to a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, fold all the way in. This time you'll inhale through a flat back to come all the way up to vertical. And then exhale, hands through heart center and alongside your hips. One more time, just like that. So inhale, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. The hands come through prayer. The chin comes to the chest. The hands reach to the toes and the spine rolls all the way down. Then inhale, reach the heart forward, slide the hands along the shins. And then exhale, melt your sternum forward to your shins. Now come through a flat back. Inhale, arms sweep out and up and overhead. And then exhale, hands through heart center. Last time. This time you do whichever variation felt better to you. So the arms swim out and you might roll down the spine or you might hinge at the hips, but you're paying attention. You're connecting to what feels best to you. Nice work. And then once you get here, you'll just stay in the forward fold after you've gotten back to your forward fold and take 3 steady breaths and check in to see how your hamstrings feel now. See if the shape feels a little bit easier and more manageable than it did just a few minutes ago. And then take a big breath in and an audible breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, come back to that weird little squatty position. Hands on the floor. And then bring your knees to the floor and bring your spine up to vertical. Hands come onto your hips. Great. Go ahead and step your left foot forward and you can keep your hands here or bring both hands on the front of that left thigh. It's totally up to you, but you'll just inhale and come forward with the pelvis and exhale and go back. And you're just paying attention again, what feels good in that front ankle, knee, what feels good in that back, hip, knee. And you're just noticing what feels good to you, what allows you to remain connected to the floor, what allows you to remain connected to your breath and connected to life as it's unfolding in this moment. Awesome sauce. All right. This next time as you come forward, let's go ahead and stay there. Push down into your right knee, push down into your left foot, hug those points together. Squeeze your right butt cheek, and then see if you can push down just a little bit with your left hand into your left thigh as you reach your right arm up and overhead. Option to stay right here. Otherwise, bend your right elbow and grab your right elbow with your left hand. Press the right elbow to the right as you pull it into the left. Continue to squeeze your back butt cheek and drag that right knee forward. And then notice if you can soften across the face. Nice work. Inhale, sweep up through your left arm, sweep up through your right, and exhale, lower the hands, shift your bum back, step your left foot back, step your right foot forward. And hands might stay on hips or hands might come to top of thigh, but you'll just take 4 of those pulses once again. And you're noticing if it feels best to have the back toes tucked under or the top of the foot on the floor. It really just depends upon you. So we're just saying hello, hip flexors. Hello, front ankle. Hello, breath. Nice job, guys. Next time you come forward, go ahead and pause. Push down into your front foot. Push down into your left knee. Suck those points together. Then squeeze your left butt cheek. Draw your pubic bone up to your belly button. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you swim your left arm up and overhead. Option to stay there, or bend the left elbow and grab the left elbow with the right hand. Press the left elbow to the left. Pull it to the right and continue to hug your feet towards each other. See if you can lift the gaze 1 millimeter and take a deeper breath into that left side body. Nice work. Next in breath, reach up through your right arm, reach up through your left. As you exhale, shift your weight back, lower the hands, and then step your foot back. From here, just hinge at your hips and bring your hands down to the floor, back to a tabletop position. And we'll do a little bit of core stabilization. So as you inhale, sweep your left foot back and your right arm forward for bird dog. And then exhale, lower your hand and your knee back to the floor. And you'll switch sides. Inhale, sweep your right leg back and your left arm forward. And exhale, lower down. And you've got 4 sets of these. And see how you can coordinate it so the foot and the hand leave the floor and arrive at the floor at the same time. And we're just noticing what we notice as we breathe. We've got about 2 more sets. Nice. Okay. This next time that your right leg is lifted, or rather your right arm is lifted and your left leg is lifted, we'll pause there for 3 steady breath cycles. So you'll just push down into the bottom hand and the bottom knee, lift up through your inner left thigh, reach forward through your right fingers, right thumb faces up. And on your next exhalation, lower the hand and the knee back to the floor. And then we'll switch sides. Send your right foot back, your left arm forward, push down through the right hand, push down through the left knee. And just pause and breathe. And next exhale, lower the limbs back to the floor. Draw your big toes to touch and press yourself back to child's pose for a steady series of 3 breaths. As we're going through our goals and trying to attain certain things, it does require that we momentarily step back and ask why we're doing it so that we can find the motivation to continue when things do become challenging, when we find certain things pop up that are hard to see as opportunities. All right, let's go ahead and inhale, come forward to hands and knees. As you exhale, tuck your toes under and push yourself back to that little squatty position. So you're at the back of your mat, heels are lifted, arms are reaching forward, little squatty position, chest is on the thigh. Great, and then just notice what this feels like now. Walk your hands back so they're underneath your shoulders. Start to push your hands down, tuck your chin to your chest, straighten your legs and fold into your forward fold position. What that feels like now. So like our little recheck every time we come, just like writing down our goals and then checking in with them is very helpful as well. All right, let's go ahead and add on. Slide your hands up your shin bones, lift your spine halfway up, so parallel to the floor. Pause here, push your shins into your hands actively, push your hands back into your shins. Draw your shoulders onto your back and reach your sternum and neck, or rather your sternum forward and your chin into your neck. Now pause here, draw one hand to one hip and the other hand to the other hip. Bend your knees to 90 degrees and lift your spine up towards the sky. You might not get there and that's okay. Release your hands alongside your hips and then inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. And exhale, swim them back behind you. We've got 4 of these. So you're just paying attention to the breath. One of the fun things about repetition is it allows us to make micro adjustments each time we do something. I find that when I'm making goals, having multiple opportunities to work to improve something enables me to actually continue the efforts required instead of just thinking it's an all or nothing, once and done type of thing. All right. So the next time your arms reach up and overhead, we'll go ahead and pause there. Push down through the feet, reach up through the fingers, and see if you can soften your chin in towards your sternum as you lift your sternum up towards your chin. Nice work. Inhale, stand up, reach up, look up. And exhale, pause here, push through the feet, reach up through the arms. On your next in-breath, find more light. And as you exhale, open the arms out and lift the skull a little higher. Lower the hands all the way alongside the hips and just pause. Cool. Shift all of the weight to your left leg and float your right leg up. And you can keep your hands on your hips if you'd like, or you can bring your hands underneath your right thigh or to the front of your right shin bone. It's totally up to you, but you're going to continue to see if you can breathe as you take some ankle circles here. And so the ankle circles are fun as an experiment because we often notice that our breath becomes jagged, or I notice that my breath becomes jagged when I'm trying to balance and then making one foot do something, switch directions if you haven't. But how can we keep the breath stable and smooth even as all this other stuff is happening? Great. Go ahead and release that foot to the floor and switch sides. Float your left leg up and take a few ankle circles here. And then notice just the breath. Can you hear the breath? Can you feel the breath? That's our why. Oftentimes we get caught in the muck and the mire of things. But if we can remember why we're doing that constant through line, it makes things a little bit more attainable. All right. Go ahead and lower the feet to the floor. Turn to face the side of your mat and separate your feet about at least 3 feet apart. Now, once your feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat, hands will come to your hips and just go ahead and fold forward halfway. From there, release your hands towards the floor underneath your shoulders. Now we're just going to take a few pulses like this, just staying with our breath. So inhale, bend your right knee, shift your weight over to the right. And exhale, come back through center. And then you'll do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, bending the left knee, shifting the weight to the left. And exhale back to center. And you'll take 3 more sets on your own. And you might play with continuing to just keep the feet as they are, feeling the fun little stretch that's happening here. You might continue to play with keeping your hands as they are or floating them parallel to the floor, and that just makes life a little bit more challenging. So arms out to the side, parallel to the floor if you're doing that, yep. And you might can choose to bend your bum all the way down to the floor, coming more for a skandasana position. You've got one more set, and then once you're done, you'll just come to center and pause for a moment in Prasarita Padottanasana, hands on the floor, or maybe on the ankles, and just breathe and notice how your legs feel here, how those hamstrings doing. Keep your hands underneath your shoulders, wiggle walk your feet towards each other. There we go. And then once your feet are about hip distance apart, inhale, halfway lift, hands slide up your shins pushing your fingers, awesome soft. As you exhale, draw your hands to your hips. Stay here, pull your pelvis back, reach your crown forward and draw this, yep, there you go. Shoulder blades onto your back, and then inhale, bend your knees, bring the spine to vertical. Release your hands alongside your hips and come to stand. There we go. Cool. Come to face the top of your space once again. Transfer all of the weight onto your right leg. Float your left leg up. Hands might be at hips. You might hold the front of that left shin. Let's go ahead and externally rotate that left leg and then bring your left foot to the inside edge of your right thigh. Maybe the left hand helps. Now, as we're here in tree pose, can you bring your hands to heart center or on your hips, wherever works for you? But the most important part of this pose isn't the balance. You can wobble. It's the breath. How is the breath? Can you keep the breath steady even as you wobble? Can you lift the gaze so it's on the horizon? And can you notice how just stabilizing the breath stabilizes the pose even when you fall out of it? Awesome stuff. All right. Gently release that, and then we'll switch sides, all the weight onto the left leg. The right leg floats up. Hand might come to the front of the right shin or not, but you'll externally rotate the leg and then bring that right foot to the inside edge of your left thigh. And then you'll pause. Hands might stay at hips. They might come to heart center. And then pay attention to the breath. By paying attention to the breath, it also helps you notice how to organize your body. You might notice that you might need to bend that left knee a bit. or push the left thigh into the right foot into the left thigh, shin. Awesome sauce. Very gently release that. Stand at the top of your space. Feet hip distance apart, hands alongside your hips. Nice work. Okay. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up and overhead. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Great. Listen carefully. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left leg long and back. You might want to pad your back knee. You might not. It's totally up to you. But curl the back toes under, lower the left knee down, and bring both hands up the front of your right thigh. Great. So this is going to be fun. Your hands can either stay here if this is going to be stable for you, or you can open your arms out to the side, tuck your thumbs towards your pinky fingers, and wrap the other 4 fingers around the thumbs. Okay. Take a big breath in here and a big breath out. Squeeze your back, butt cheek. Inhale, straighten both legs, lift up. And exhale, lower back down to the knee to hover off the floor a millimeter. And you got 4 of these. Inhale to come up. And exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale up. And exhale, lower down. Inhale up. Exhale, lower down. And last one. Inhale up. And exhale, lower down. Awesome sauce. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up and overhead. Asana. And then exhale, hands to the floor. Step to the top of your space, forward fold. There we go. And then we'll try the other side. So inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right leg back, and lower the right knee to the floor. Tuck the toes under, and then bring the spine up to vertical. Both hands on the front of that left thigh. Option to stay right here. And I didn't mention this on the first side, but the same actions that we did before. So you push down into that front foot, push down into that back knee, hug those points together. Otherwise, hands will open out to the side, thumb comes to the pinky finger, wrap all the other 4 fingers around. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, squeeze your back butt cheek, and then inhale, straighten both legs and hover off the floor. And exhale, slowly descend. And you've got 3 more of these. Follow your own breath. Trying to make this as smooth as possible for you, because it just teaches the brain how to do this more efficiently. This soft last one. Okay, the next time that right knee is down, you'll open the arms out and reach them up and overhead. Big breath, Asana. And then exhale, hands to the floor. Slight transition, tuck the back toes under, lift your left foot back, plank pose, and pause. Now, quick heads up, we're going to do 4 sets of these. So you can lower to your forearms. You can also lower a knee to the mat, but you'll inhale here and exhale here. On your next in-breath, both heels come to the left. Your right arm will reach up to the sky for a side plank variation. And then exhale, come back through center. And then switch sides. Inhale, send the left arm up. And exhale back through center. And so as you take this 3 more times on your own, you're just noticing what you notice. Nice variation showing self-care. Nice variation showing connection to self and to others. Okay, the next time you're on your right side, you'll go ahead and pause there. And you'll just breathe here for 3, for 2, for 1. Go ahead and switch sides and breathe for 3, for 2, for 1. Come back through center, press back to child's pose and take a breath. So one of the cool things that I think we have the capacity to remember in this moment is that to really be connected to another person, or to really practice self-love, we really don't have to remember anything other than this, which is that there's nothing that you need to do to be worthy of love. There's nothing that you need to do to be worthy of feeling connected. The more we can remember that, it sort of opens up space so that we can feel connected, so that we can feel a little bit better. All right, let's go ahead and come up to sit. And I encourage you to sit on a blanket or on a block, whatever will feel good to you. Okay. And then we're going to just tuck our left ankle outside of our right hip, cross our right foot over. And you could just pull that shin close to your chest and stay right here if that's creating enough sensation in your right outer hip. You might also cross the left elbow over the right shin and maybe bring that right hand behind you. But what's deepening the twist isn't the force of my arms, it's the force of my breath. So I'll inhale and lift up as high as I can, and then exhale, just evacuate the belly on the right side and let that rotate the rib cage towards the inner right thigh. And you'll just do that 3 or 4 times. So lifting up and then just exhaling, letting go of all that stuff that's in the way that keeps you from showing up in life in the way you wish to, showing up in relationships, those with others as well as those with ourselves. We're just saying bye-bye, stuff I don't need. I'm exhaling and expelling you away. Goodbye. One more time. Awesome sauce. Then on your next in-breath, gently unwind. Come back through center. Uncross your legs and take the opposite cross. So now the right heel is outside of the left hip. The left foot is now outside of the right shin. And you just pull that thigh close to you, and you might just stay right here, or wrap the right arm outside of the left shin and the left hand behind you. And then just take 3 breaths on this side. And again, it's happening because you're finding length. We're finding that unconditional positive self-regard, in the words of Carl Rogers. So we can just find space and we can breathe. Last one. Awesome sauce. Go ahead and come back through center. This time you can take either Sukhasana, so your ankles are directly underneath your knees, or if your hips, if that's compassionate to you, you can take Adni Stambhasana, but you're choosing the one that feels best to your body. Remove any flesh from outside of your sit bones. And then you might want a block to start to walk yourself forward until you feel a fun stretch happening in your outer hips. And then you'll just pause and you'll breathe there. You might be able to walk all the way forward and maybe bring your head to the block or to the floor in front of you. But the further that you go, you'll notice that then changes sensation to outer hips and maybe even your low back QL region here. Take 3 more breath cycles here. And then very gently start to make your way up. You're following your own pace. So your breath cycles might be slower than mine or slower than another. So you just do you. At the end of your third exhalation, you'll just gently sit up and you'll just pause. And you'll notice what you notice. And then when you are ready, you'll switch sides, going to the opposite shin bone in front, moving any flesh from underneath your buttocks. And then start to hinge from the top of your sacrum, top of the pelvis forward until you find a fun stretch on your outer hips. You might walk all the way forward, letting the head descend towards the floor. And you'll just take a series of breaths there, finding in this moment how you can be very, very much compassionate with the self and the body as it's doing whatever it's doing, and finding how much you can be connected to this breath, to this shape, to this moment without you really needing to do too much. Take your last 3 breath cycles here. And at the end of your third exhalation, you'll slowly walk your spine back to vertical. And again, you'll just pause once you get there. Notice what you notice. Awesome stuff. All right, go ahead and turn around and lie down on your back. Make sure you have a block somewhere easily accessible to you, maybe 2 blocks in case you want it later on. And then once you find yourself on your back, go ahead and grab one of those blocks and slide it between your inner upper thighs. Make sure your feet are planted on the floor, hip distance apart. And then the first thing that you'll do is notice if you need to turn your heels in or out just a bit so it feels better to your knees and your low back. Lightly squeeze into your block, push through your feet, and lift your hips up towards the sky. Now, once your hips are high, take a moment to notice what feels best for your arms. Do you want to walk the shoulder blades underneath you and grab opposite hands? Do you want to cactus the arms alongside the hips so the fingertips point up? Wherever you are, you're noticing what feels best to you. How do you engage the backs of the legs? Lightly hug that block, push down into your feet. And then notice if the sternum can lift a little higher towards your chin, and then push the back of your head down into the floor as you draw the chin slightly away from the sternum. And we've got 2 more breath cycles here. At the end of your next exhalation, if the hands are clasped, you'll unclasp them, untuck the shoulders, and bring your pelvis back down to the floor. Take a moment to just pause and notice what you notice. And then from this point, you've got options. I would encourage you to take a supported bridge, maybe with the second block underneath the sacrum, maybe with the one between your thighs underneath your sacrum. Will you choose what feels best to you? And whatever option you've taken, is it possible to try to get the pelvis, the front of the pelvis, the 2 hip bones and the pubic bone to be parallel to the floor? So it's like there's a lake at the pelvis, so that you can really start to soften around the pelvic floor and just breathe into this lowest part of the body. And if you've got that block between the thighs still, notice how you can soften in the upper groin, still holding on to the block, but letting go of a little bit of tension there. Okay. Now from this point, go ahead and check in, see if this is a place you want to stay. Otherwise, you might just remove that block if it's between your thighs and lift one foot either along the floor and down in front of you, leg long, or lift one leg up to the sky and then the other leg up to the sky, but whatever feels best to you. So maybe both feet go up Or maybe you gradually work to having both legs long beneath you on the floor. But you're checking in and you're connecting with what feels best to you in this moment, best to the breath, allowing it, even as it has become very subtle, to remain steady, to remain even. We've got another 4 breath cycles in this position. So if you were just stretching one leg long on the floor beneath you, go ahead and switch sides. And then we'll gradually start to make our way back to that supported bridge. So if the legs are up towards the sky, gently bend the knees and lower one foot and then the other to the floor. If your legs are long, start to walk the feet back. Now before you go anywhere, squeeze your bum, engage the backs of the legs to lift the pelvis up. Then remove your block and bring your pelvis back down. Okay, and then you'll just take a moment to pause, to breathe, and to check in. Now in this moment, just see what might feel nice to you to end your practice. Happy baby might feel nice. Figure 4 might feel nice. Combination of the two might feel nice. But you'll allow yourself to just explore. One of the fun things about setting intentions is that they allow us to be intentional about what it is we wish to do. So you don't have to worry about doing something just because someone else is doing something. You can really choose to do what helps us feel alive, alert, connected, and whole. So as you're taking these final few moments for you, winding down in any way that feels best to you, notice what you notice. And then when you feel complete, start to make your way to your final resting pose. And as you find your way into this final shape, I encourage you to take the opportunity to make sure that in this moment you feel as comfortable and as supported as you can. So maybe that means covering the body. Maybe it means using blocks or blankets or pillows. Whatever ways allow you to really just rest into reality that you're already whole, you're already loved, you're already worthy just as you are. And then from there, we'll spend the next few moments just allowing ourselves to connect to that reality. So every inhalation is drinking that in. I am whole, I am complete, I am connected, I am loved. And every exhalation is letting go of any of the BS or garbage that says anything to the contrary. I am connected, I am whole, I am loved, just as I am. And the exhale lets go of anything to the contrary. You'll continue to rest with your breath for a few more moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness, and then just take a moment to check in and notice what you notice. If there's any part of you that longs to linger here, by all means, just hang out here. Otherwise, you'll start to invite small movements into the fingers, the toes, and allow yourself to reawaken in this moment in whatever way feels nurturing to you. Whatever enables you to enjoy the expression of your being. And gradually, you'll start to make your way to one of your sides, and you'll pause there for a moment. And then slowly press yourself up to a tall, comfortable seat. When you're vertical, take the opportunity to sit well. So maybe elevating bum on block or blanket. And then with your gaze either inward or down towards the floor, see if you can sit as tall as you can in the heart space, and then soften any tension around the shoulders. So maybe sometimes that means you need to move around a little bit to get the wiggles out. And then notice if you can relax the jaw, relax the tongue, and the lips might part just a little bit. Allow the eyes to soften back into the sockets as you soften across the forehead. And then just bring your awareness to the tips of your nose. And you'll just take 3 breaths here, following the breath in the nostrils and following the breath out. as we move forward into the rest of our day. I'd like each of us to remember the thing that we're working to cultivate in our lives, in our being, in our world, and why we're striving for that. So that when we're faced with those opportunities that are challenging or trying, we can remember how our future self, our best self, would like to respond and choose to act from there. So we'll end our practice by drawing our hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press your palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and lift your heart towards your thumbs. Allow your chin to bow towards your chest, and then we'll just take a moment to pause. The light within me honors and salutes the light within each of you. Namaste.